Hello, everybody. We are so back and we are ready to talk again today. My name is Dr. Brawley and this is Austin with me today.
Hey.
Yeah, hopefully you've been watching our episodes and you've been sharing them and you've just been a part of our family, because right now we want you a part of our family because we have so much good stuff to talk about. So what are we talking about today, Austin?
Property boss moves.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So bringing in the boss of properties over here. Our commercial.
I am the boss.
Just talking about a little bit of start to finish,
Okay.
what it looks like with property managing, what all that entails, what all owning the property and where you work in with the property owners.
Right.
Talking about during that process, what all you're doing for the property.
Right.
You know, all of that misinformation that you're like, you do this, but what do you do?
Right.
You know,
Right.
There's a
right.
lot to it that people don't know, that you're that first phone call, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you're speaking for the owners. You're doing the coordination of everything for the property. So there's a lot in there. So property management is a lot about putting out fires,
Yes.
right?
Lots
Fixing all
of
that.
fire. Yeah.
So
Constant
that was like-
change. Yeah, constant change. You never have the same day. And I think that that's what I love about this industry. You do not have the same day. Every single day is different. And even when you wake up to go into the office, you're like having a list of things to do, but then you're adding to the list because other fires may erupt or start, especially when you're dealing with commercial properties. So just a little bit about the industry and some of the components and things that we do. When I say we do it all, we really do. So we manage the inside and outside of all of the properties, which entails that landscaping. Right now in Texas, just to say this, man, we've been having some weird weather, like crazy weather. And so
Different.
very different than what we've ever had for a long time, right? Or some stuff we have never seen, because we're talking about, quick windstorms. Like, we're not accustomed to that. Give us some hurricane and some ribs and a good beer. We could, we'll party before the storm comes,
Right.
and then know what to do after the storm. But lately we've been having ice storms, small tornadoes in different parts of Texas, just various things that have effect not only the landscaping, but have affect the actual commercial buildings, where things fall on them, signs get twisted. So we pretty much cover you from A to Z, and we'll get the necessary people in to fix, or if we fix. So we do have specialized teams that actually fix things for us inside of our company. And if we can't fix it, then we sometimes vet it out to others that are qualified, that are in our database system that we've created. So inside portion is just like everything aesthetically that you see. And I say aesthetics on the outside too.
Maintenance too.
Maintenance, yeah. Busted pipes and but then there's the good side too, where there's nothing wrong and we maintain the maintenance. So irrigation systems, all of that. So if we're seeing something, we usually say something to the client, let us look at this or let us maintenance this prior to anything. Because who wants to really do it always running after
Right.
the issue?
Yeah.
You want to do it while it's
Preventative.
work. Yeah. Preventative, looking at, making sure people's ACs are up to date, giving them a due diligence of a spreadsheet that shows them. One of the secrets that we do, and I'm only going to give one of those secrets that makes us extraordinary from all of the rest of the property management companies, is because we look at a list and we create a list for our people, and we put AC and we put the years on it, and we put that make model of how long it will last. So we're
Nice.
already calculating, instead of giving them big pricing and big things that's happening right every time we're running after stuff. When we come in as your property management company, we come in and we make a huge list of different things that are the big ticket items, and then another kind of aesthetics to make it spruce it up a little bit. And then we come in with pricing to show you what you need to do to make you look the same. Have you ever been into an old place and it looks
Right.
Um,
Dying shopping center that won't
yeah, and you're
update.
like, what? Like
Tiles clicking off the floor.
tiles, or yeah, you walking there just sliding off the floor.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, that's a liability.
Yeah.
But the food's good here.
Right.
So we make a list of that because a lot of times in commercial, the owners keep going to the facility every day, and it's just like their house. You get blind to stuff that looks weird,
Yep.
and
They
you
see
just
it all the time.
you see it all the time because you're working there all day.
Right.
So you see it all the time. So you're like, oh yeah, we got to fix that broken tile.
Right.
So we'll come in, and I do an assessment, and I'll come in and I'll look at the exterior, I'll look at the interior, and I love spending money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like to help my clients too. So that's how we help them better than anybody else, because I come in with a to-do list, and I give years by it. I say, okay, this, your AC is 15 years old. You're blessed that it's still working. This is a commercial grade, and look at the maintenance, look at the condition of it.
Right.
So not only do we do that, we take pictures of it, and then we do follow-up. So every 6 months, we'll come back out and snap a picture to show comparison of where it was when I told you that you needed to get it done to where it is. So this way, yearly, when a commercial client does something, they can make a budget.
That's huge. That's
Yeah,
exactly
they need a
what I was
budget.
thinking, that I was like, that is a secret little token.
That's a secret
because-
token. I'm only gonna give you one.
Yeah.
Because it's a competitive market out here.
Yeah.
But I got a bunch of them, and that's people always call us and say, how do y'all got 5 stars? Well, we got 5 stars because I'm not just a founder and a CEO that just sits in the back and just,
Right.
I'm always,
check.
yeah, I'm not just taking a check. I'm actually in the field, and I'm coming up with creative things that others are not doing
Right.
at all.
Well, and you're benefiting that business too that's being there and those owners, because you're letting them know this month you're probably gonna have to do this. So
Right.
assume that in 6 months from now we're
Right.
gonna need to do this. So
No
they can
surprises,
budget out.
right.
No surprises, because that's what breaks a lot of businesses.
Right.
All those surprises.
Right.
That's one of their low months in cash flow. So
Right.
keep some of that high month, and we're gonna spend it then. Leave you a little
Right.
bit to make some money throughout this time. But
Right.
yeah, that's huge for a business. So
It is-
That's
it
amazing. I
is.
didn't know that you did all.
Yeah, it's very huge. It's actually, I call it like a lifeline. Like
Right.
I'm throwing them a floater
Mm-hmm.
to let them strategize, because they're not thinking about all of that. They got that brick and mortar. They're not thinking about all that.
Right.
They're like, oh, this is a building that now I just need to continue to get customers.
Right.
But you also have to get the extent. You have to keep everything up and maintenance well. And then when other surprises happen, like a winter storm or freeze, actually Texas is supposed to get another cold front coming in. We've never had nothing like this.
You didn't say that.
Yeah, no, I just got an alert, people. We don't know when this podcast will air, but I just got an alert. And, so it's all of those mishaps that happen. I love that little Allstate guy that he's like doing this, eating ice
They call him
cream.
the
And,
mishap guy.
yeah, I love it because you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
So your property manager is not there to for you to be arguing with them and you're sad and upset. They're supposed to be your eyes, ears, and feet on the street. Like they're supposed to be your protection, your bodyguard for your luxury high-end home because that's what I service.
Yeah.
So I don't just service, that's my niche,
Right.
the more luxury stuff and the commercial side. So that's what I'm supposed to be there for. And I do the same with the residential homes.
Yeah.
I have a client that has a $3 million home. I'm there looking at what needs to, it helps the realtor.
Yeah.
So when they get ready to sell, the realtor is not coming in here going,
When's the last time you've been in here?
when is the last time you've been in the room 13?
Yeah.
For
real.
and right, and the curtains are back from 1989.
Mm-hmm.
So if we make a to-do list and we strategize that to-do list and just categorize stuff and then touch base with them constantly to say, sometimes you got to nudge on people because they just feel like I spent $10,000 on those curtains. Why am I replacing them?
Right.
Well, they're 15 years old.
Right.
So it's not in style no
They
more.
haven't been dusted in
They haven't
15
been
years.
dusted. They haven't been, yeah. So it's just putting those things back into check and reality.
Yeah. And speaking on that a little bit about your residential history, I know you worked with celebrities, right? With
Yeah.
managing that. So that's something that you forget about, that celebrities are around the world all the
Right.
time. So they might not be back to this house over here
Right.
in a year or two because they're
Right.
traveling on tours and things like that, or
Right.
whatever that is.
Or having
What
a
does that
long
look like?
time a project, acting project, and actors and actresses that they just have their Malibu house or something that's
Right.
for the summer or something.
Right.
So we'll manage that and make sure that when they do come, it's ready. It's not that they have to go and blow
Right.
the dust off and come on, kids.
Yeah.
We're finally getting a little time together.
Mhm.
So that goes to say, especially in the celebrity world, because you just never know when they're gonna pop up at their house and want to enjoy some of the stuff that they work very hard for.
Yep. Yeah. And we talked about squatters at one point. I
Oh
know.
my goodness, squatters in
Which
Texas.
I did
Oh,
not know that happens so often in luxury homes.
yes,
That's crazy.
yes, yes. We were dealing with a situation. I had a client. They actually had squatters up at the top of their home, and they didn't even know that they were there. They were there for weeks at a time.
They were in this house living up there, and they would come home and not know that there was anybody up
right.
there. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? That's
Crazy,
beyond
yeah.
insane, right? Scary, because
Mhm.
and one of the great things that we do too, that when we have our checklist, is talking about always updating security systems, keeping the state of the art stuff. We're training our people to go through these things, so that way, because usually they have their own security people, security team, security systems, but letting them know when upgrades happen. So we'll ask, what is that security system called? And when we'll plug it in so we can get notifications of when the new updates happen, so we'll be able to tell our clients.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So that's more than just a property management company.
Right.
That's somebody that's keeping everything together, kind of like a mother hen.
Right. I know. Okay.
A little
Yeah.
mother hen.
Literally management to the
To the T.
to the T
Yeah,
that you don't think about.
right.
That is crazy, though. I just can't get over. I'd love to play house in
I
a
know.
$10 million home,
Right. Go swimming, just
and then
hanging out.
threaten to say I've lived here for this long,
Right.
and I have proof.
Right? It's crazy, but people, I think what has happened in the world, people tend to just. I've seen some crazy stuff in this industry, like crazy, where I've had to call the police and just like, are you serious? People popping out of a closet. It's like, whoa, where you come from? And
Crazy.
yeah, and it's it startles you, but you're like, okay, and they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the pool. Like, where did you come from, and why are you here? And
Oh my
we've
gosh.
acquired properties that had not been looked after, and so when we come in, that's some of the stuff. Not the properties that we're managing has that issue.
Right.
When we're coming in, we're like, whoa, nobody's supposed to be here. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And then we have to do our due diligence to get that person out, file the right court papers, do all the proceedings, actually talk to the person that owns the home and tell them what's going on. Sometimes even hiring people that can take timestamp pictures of that person living there squatting or something. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people I don't think know what all squatting entails and what rights they have, and
Right.
I don't know. It blows my mind.
Right. And what'll be a great thing for us to do on this podcast is to actually have a whole episode of squatting, because people don't realize the laws are different in every state.
Mm-hmm.
The laws are different in every state. Right now, we manage Texas and Louisiana. So, but every state is different when it comes to squatting, and it's insane. Sometimes it takes a long time for people to get out of people's properties. Because things wasn't documented, things wasn't done properly. You might have had a property management company that didn't even come by the house, didn't even check on the house, and now you got a situation. And I just feel my heart is always compassionate for that kind of stuff because, people don't want their stuff destroyed. And when they pay a property management company, they really want somebody to look after this stuff.
Yep.
And you should do your job.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So whenever someone is using your company, they reach out to you, they talk to you directly. You're the one who manages each vendor that needs, or I know you own your own.
Back in the day, you used to get me directly.
Yeah.
You used to get me directly, but I'm not accessible. Like you can still, if you ask for me, you can still talk to me.
Yeah.
Like now I'm not in office. We're doing podcasts, but
Right.
hey, you can still get, if you want to talk to me, you can. There are some people that are not accessible like that, but I am. Like, I think that my guys and girls out there respect that I'm in the field with them. Like, I will go to the field and be like, hand me that mulch bag,
Right.
because I enjoy I enjoy it.
Mhm.
I enjoy doing the, flowers and picking out stuff and going to the store and, to our major vendors and picking out different things. So that is one thing I think in this industry that's why I say you got to love what you do.
Yeah.
You got to love what you do. Because if you love what you do, you don't mind putting on the multiple hats to make the job, go.
Right.
And before I had all of this staff and all of these people working for me, I was the one that was actually doing the job. And I didn't mind. I was tired.
Yeah.
But I did it and I loved it.
Yeah. And I think, you hit that point where you grow so much that you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't have time.
I can't do
There
this.
are not
Yeah.
enough hours in a day
Right.
for me to do all of this. So
To
that's
reach
awesome,
all of the
man.
clients and do everything that needs to be done with thinking of innovative ways to grow. Because just like I shared that one little tip, there's still a multitude of things that I'm always looking at the competitive edge of what can we do more of and how can we do better. That is the motto throughout the office. It's no time to interchange any type of silly stuff at the office. Like constantly, even when I'm not there, everybody's like, meeting wise, what can we do more and how can we do better? Yeah.
That's awesome. You get to run every business that way.
Yeah.
So how long did it take Blue Scorpion to really start gaining some traction?
Oh man. Probably about year 3, maybe. I'll say about year 3, but it comes with just all that work, and then you don't even realize how much traction you get until kind of like what you said. You did that one deal with real estate.
And it just flooded you.
It's like, was it, you said $2 million deal and it was Facebook. Like you have to be innovative and then you keep pouring into your business and your business blesses you back. And then you bless the people that work within the business and then you get more blessings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely had lulls.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it
always
has
a roller
lows and
coaster.
it's a roller coaster, but it's a good roller coaster because at times things change, stuff change. Anything outdoor for us, weather is a factor.
Yeah.
So if I have a project and then all of a sudden here we come with this rain for 7 days, it's like that was my project. I had 6 projects lined up at 6 different places. Now we're behind.
Yeah.
So it's the boat. So you gotta level out the boat, know where to stand in the boat, so that way you don't flip off the boat.
Yeah. So do you do, jumping probably away from the residential side, do you do like tenant filling and things like that?
That was another little thing we snatched away from us that we don't, because we want to be that one that specializes in the care and the aesthetics of stuff. So we snatched away from that. We used to do HOA stuff. We snatched away.
Right.
Yeah, we snatched away from that. And I think nothing's wrong with those things by no means. Go at it. There's lots of money out there in it. But I think when you go into it, you're gonna do a lot of it because that name is big, like property management. What is it? What does it all entail? And the portion of it is the preservation, which we do and have been a part of projects where we're doing preservation work for historical bricks and buildings.
That's
and
awesome.
oh my goodness, because I'm all about the art, right?
I
Look,
know.
the art,
Right.
the art, right? My house is filled with art. I, on my off days, do art myself, but the preservation portion to preserve some artifacts or something within the building instead of condemning it down and starting all over. We do work with, even contractors and stuff that, got small projects on it where we have to tear some of it down and rebuild it up to standard,
Right.
to new standards or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot to keep up with.
It is. It is.
I know. So, how did you start scaling whenever you did start to shoot off over time?
Oh gosh.
Through marketing?
I mean marketing, but also so like word of mouth too and marketing.
Best way.
Yeah, because
Relationships.
it is. It's the relationships. We've been saying this on every
Every-
podcast. Relationships. And you got to have good relationships with people. You can't just be flaked out, right? Only doing it for the money. You have to do it for the passion and love. And like the love of real estate and everything about it runs deep in my bloodstream. But I had to narrow stuff down and say, okay, I really like this side of it. I really like this. Okay, let's just be the hub of that and kind of focus on that.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm an AI girl. I love AI.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
Because I know you are always like, we got to find out this system. Because I know there's a
Right.
system for that in AI. I want you even say that about all the stuff we have going on. I want you to look up this. I heard that there's a thing in this.
Right.
So-
Right. Yeah. AI is, we have to embrace it because it's here and it's not going anywhere. So you have to look at it for your business. And because I'm going to be the number one AI person for the property management industry because I live it, I breathe it, I dream about it at night because it's so fascinating to me that we can start doing things in a way. It doesn't take away jobs if you look at it in a different type of way, right? It doesn't take away jobs because you're going to have somebody to manage that process. You're going to have somebody that's going to have to be there to get it hands on. Yeah. AI is not just going to be walking around and people are just going to be sitting at home.
Right.
That's not how it's going to be. With it all changed, people have to get used to all change. It's here already. We just have to just embrace it.
Yeah.
And then working into our business. And I've already started implementing and working stuff into the business.
Right. Well, and it helps just really, I feel like, take times off your hands. Not so much as it's almost creating itself a new position for you.
Right.
To help you organize and get
Right.
your business going. Because I know I use a lot of stuff in real estate already that help
Right.
me, I have to stay up till wee hours of the night trying to
Right.
catch up on all because I'm out in person during the day. So at night, I have to go home and do all my contract work and things like that.
Right.
Which most of that's still on me, but you have a AI system to help at least with a little bit of this process.
Right.
And-
Or funnel your
Every few
calls
minutes,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Right.
And that stuff been out here for a long, long time. It's not just,
Yeah.
somebody didn't just get a wand and say, boop, boop, AI.
Right.
It's because I've been going to AI conventions and conferences around the world for the last maybe 11 years. That's how
Dang.
in tune I am with it. And I'm just like, sign me up when the flying car comes here.
Right.
Because I need one to get around town from Pearland to Sugarland to Galveston sign
Right.
me up, But it's here and we just have to embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. So, whenever you're getting into, I'm just continuing on all your property management.
No,
Because
that's
that's
fine because I think
feel like
people
you
want to
have-
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, people want to know.
And I know you have a lot of the answers to it. It's not something that I've really hit up. I've managed, lease properties, things like that. So sort of doing what you're doing on a smaller scale. But I feel like you've taken it to the next level, all of that. And then obviously hitting that higher echelon of people that you don't think about. They're not renting out their $10 million house. They're just maintaining it.
Maintaining it.
Figuring out that, there's someone that does that for me. I
Right.
don't think a lot of people know that's out there,
Right.
even in the echelon.
And I don't have to call all these different people to help me. I don't have to call a tree guy. I don't have to call this. You just call one sub hub, which is me. That's all looking at. A little commercial plug.
Right.
What I wish I knew at the start Trusting Blue Scorpion Property Preservation Management Group with our commercial landscaping was the best decision ever. Blue Scorpion Property Preservation Management Group has been transforming commercial spaces into green paradises. Our clients can't stop raving about us. Just listen to what they have to say.
First client review. Our property has never looked this good. 5 stars all the way.
Second client review. Professional, reliable, and simply the best in the business. 5-star service.
From lush green lawns to vibrant floral displays, we've got it all covered. Our dedicated team ensures your property not only looks great but stands out.
Third client review. Their attention to detail is incredible. Our landscaping has never been in better hands. 5 stars.
Whether you're a business or an individual, Blue Scorpion Property Preservation Management Group brings expertise, reliability, and a touch of magic to every project. Ready to transform your property? Join the 5-Star Club! Because at Blue Scorpion Property Preservation Management Group, we believe every property deserves to shine. Blue Scorpion Property Preservation Management Group, where properties thrive.
And it just is all taken care of for you. You don't have to worry about anything else, just one-stop shop.
24-hour service.
24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Now, you won't find me on Sunday, but, and I don't really promote my staff working on Sunday. I'm big on that. I'm almost like a Chick-fil-A when it comes to that. But if there is a need and something happens, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big believer in time off. We talked about that.
Oh,
this
yeah.
morning.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have some rest.
Gotta have a rest.
To be able to work efficiently.
Right.
Still learning that.
Yeah. No, and we'll get you there.
Off.
We'll get you there.
It's hard to turn it off.
We'll get you there. No, that is very important in order to navigate what you need to do, because in this fast-paced industry of property management, it is fast-paced. Literally blink of an eye, I can have someone that is at that echelon of height call me and say, I just acquired 5. I actually did have somebody just do that to me. I just acquired 5 more restaurants. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Where are they? Right. He calling me at 5 o'clock talking about he just acquired 5 more restaurants. And I'm like, wait a minute. What? And I'm like, congratulations. Yeah. So am I managing those too? Yeah, that's why I'm calling you. Yeah. Okay. Well, give me the addresses.
Start there.
Yeah. So, and then we'll start there, because that means that's 5 new places that I need to go in and do exactly what I said that I do, is look at the AC, look at all of these components, make a spreadsheet, get it into our database system, get the years equivalated to the product. So if you got a Whirlpool, I'm just giving an example, I got to equivalate how long that particular Whirlpool lasts and how many. And now with so much technology, we've also added in that spreadsheet when there's recalls.
Gotcha.
So that way that protects my clients. They tell their insurance person, our property manager even lets us know when there's a recall on something that can be fire hazard or whatever it is. You know how many man hours it takes to do all that for a client to make sure. So we're not cheap.
No. That's what I was thinking of.
No,
that's like top.
But that's over the top, and we help to resolve those, issues where you're not stressed out, because now everything, if you got 5 locations of restaurants plus an additional 25, and you don't know all of what's happening.
Right.
You're relying on us to be that eyes for you, but that's where property management hasn't taken it to another level, and we've already done it. So we've been successfully doing that for the last 3.5, 4 years, with adding some other stuff that I'm not talking about because I don't need no competition, but we've been doing that. And we're going to continue to do that with adding more, with taking care of our people that do it.
Mm-hmm.
You take care of the people take care of you, the business is good.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep. So you said you really don't have to deal with finding tenants, things like that.
No.
You don't work in anything like that
We
anymore.
used to. But I think what shot us away once Airbnb came.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the Airbnb market got weird
Mm-hmm.
at one point. They were looking for property managers to come in and just clean up and, touch this and touch that and make $300 and then leave. Like, what is this? And then, you know, so it just got weird because everybody that didn't even know business was in leasing Airbnbs. And I don't even know where the market is really with that anymore. You would actually have to tell me that.
Yeah, there's a couple that have
Has it
come
just
up.
tanked?
No.
Oh.
So the new is kind of what you were just saying. The new thing that's popped up is real estate agencies make that a part of their entity that they'll do.
Oh.
And they'll have like 2 people that are just on those. And so someone that wants to Airbnb out, they come to them and say, I don't want to upload it to Airbnb and deal with approving
Right.
bookings and all that. So then they pay that real estate agency to manage it. So now
Oh.
they take a fee plus Airbnb takes their fee. But yeah, they're in charge of still doing what you're doing. They're managing the property, doing all the preventative maintenance, all of that stuff.
Right.
Also coordinating with Airbnb, the dates that are available, all
Okay.
of that. And then they help run financials for it. So keeping up with
So-
that.
One of the newer things with that I've discovered, and why we kind of steer away from it, was there started being squatters in Airbnbs.
I've heard that.
So they'll get into the Airbnb and then decide they're not going because they like what it looks like. And so
They have the door code.
they have the door code, they're there. Now you got to force them out,
Yeah.
you know. But so that wasn't the way for us as a, you know, as a niche of, you know, the higher level echelons of where we are already. That wasn't, you know, it's like you start to clip away leaves and things on the tree that
A lot of
wasn't
work for 'em.
wasn't producing. Now, is it something worthwhile? Oh yeah, it makes a lot of money. But I didn't stay in that trend, and it became a trend for quite some time. So that's why I was asking where the trend is now.
Yeah, I still see it. Airbnb hacking is a thing.
What is that?
Lease hacking. So they will, people that want to get into investing, making money, but say they can't qualify for a mortgage.
Right.
And they've tried. Maybe haven't looked into like what we talked about the last podcast, the creative financing. But
Right.
so they say, well, I can afford an extra lease a month on that lease over there. And I know that building has some people that are Airbnb-ing
Right.
their apartments out. So they go to, which I found some people that asked me to help them do this, and they weren't I think they were listening to a podcast, how they figured this out. They weren't, there's legalities in that. So whenever you sign a lease somewhere, they have in there that you can't sublease or
Correct.
even have Airbnbs or short-term
Correct.
rentals at all. So I'm looking at all this and I'm like, no, there can't be Airbnbs in here. And if they are, they're doing it against their contract.
Correct.
So especially if you blow up and get this thing making money, that company sees that, they're going to come for you.
Right.
But they are subleasing pretty much. So they
Right.
go and lease out a property underneath their name, and they go list that on Airbnb. And they even have a little spreadsheet, a couple of people that I've worked with, that they say, okay, the lease is this much. I have to at least Airbnb it out for this much each weekend. And as long as it makes that, it's paying off that rent. Plus, I get a little bit, and I have no cover of that property because that building that it's in, they have maintenance for this, and that.
Oh wow.
I don't have to.
So they're
worry
making
about
all this
that.
cash.
I don't have to pay taxes.
I actually just saw a
property
Facebook
taxes.
post like that a lady was teaching people how to do that. She was in her little Lamborghini.
Yeah, house hacking. They call it house hacking.
House hacking.
But it's them literally doing that. They're putting it on Airbnb. They're just getting a lease on a property for a year
Right.
and going and listing on Airbnb. And they decorate it nice,
Right.
Put some stuff in there to
Couple
make
little
it look trendy
chairs.
and
Yeah.
fun. And yeah, it's all set up just like a normal Airbnb, but all they're doing is getting a lease on it.
And
then
see,
Airbnb-ing it
that
out.
was one of the reasons why we got out of that industry of the leasing and stuff like that, because a lot of people were getting upset, not at us, but just at a whole with property managements, companies, because they're expecting that when they get with you, you're going to do all of this. But like you said, there's rules. And some of them have HOA rules in their bylaws saying, covenants saying that you can't have that here.
Yep.
And so it becomes, now you're in a legal situation because you're managing over that for them to win, right? So literally that's almost like their hands are out of it other than their name on the lease, and you're the property manager that's managing the whole thing, which you can't manage it
Right.
if it's an HOA and all, So I got to all I needed to do is see a little bit of that, and I was like,
Right.
that's too
totally
sticky.
Exactly. There's a lot of people
That's too
involved
sticky.
already, and then now you got
Right.
this bottom of the totem pole person that's
Right.
going through and doing all this stuff against all these contracts, and so it just chain
Right.
reaction of taking everybody,
Right.
tearing everybody apart.
Have you seen anything go legally to court yet on that?
I haven't personally, but I know it's there. I've seen things,
Right.
on reports of people talking about doing this,
Right.
and case and scenarios of that happening.
Right. Well, they did learn a lot of that kind of stuff on our
Excuse me.
podcast.
Right. And so they don't research all of that stuff. That's where I'm saying these clients that came to me and said they want to try this out and do these things. I'm
Right.
like, okay, but what you missed on the podcast, or what it wasn't in that podcast, is there's
Right.
things that you need to research
Right.
for legality reasons.
And laws of the state.
Yes. And
Laws of
like
the
you said,
state.
HOA. My HOA doesn't allow it.
My HOA
So-
doesn't allow it
Yeah.
at all.
That
So
takes
it's,
somebody-
yeah.
And they're like, well, that's why I'm using you. And I'm like,
Nah.
I
You're
am
not going to have me fighting for you. Yeah.
I am not a legal representative like that.
Right,
So
right.
I'm not a lawyer.
So they're usually, I guess, using that property management company or that entity to kind of bypass that. I never did see it as that way. I just saw it as sticky, and I was like, you know what? That's such a trend right now, and I'm not about trends. I'm about the stability,
Mhm.
sustainability of the business model.
Right.
Period. And so to me, when those little poppy trends come in, I gotta watch it a little bit before we say, "Oh yeah, we'll manage that for you too." Because we've had a lot of calls asking for us to manage that, and I send them to others that manage it.
Yeah.
So I don't stop the wealth for somebody. If
Right.
you want to do it, I send it to you.
I got somebody for you.
I got somebody for you.
Here you are. Yeah. That is something too, how I built my business too, for things like that. 'Cause
Right,
It's very hard for me to say no to anything, but
Right.
especially more business.
right.
But at the same time, you got to know when to say no. And I'm like,
All
this
money's
is
not good
awesome that
money.
you're right. It's awesome that you're trying for this. And
Right.
You got to be honest with your clients too.
Right.
Maybe that's not your just niche. So,
Right.
and you don't want to put a lot of time into learning and figuring it
Right.
out for them.
Right.
Let
it's
me
too
send you
much.
over to my friend. 'Cause
Right.
I already built a relationship with somebody that does this. So
Right.
here you go.
And that's a win-win. That way they don't feel like you ignored them, and they don't feel like, you don't have connections. So
Right. Yeah.
here's the connection. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People definitely get attracted to that too. So
Right.
That you just kind of know everybody type
Right.
of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Which I've been told.
A love of
that-
resources.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, well, remember me then.
Right.
So-
Remember me when you get ready
Whenever
to
you
sell
wanna
another.
buy it, yeah.
When you're ready to buy that $6 million house. Now
Exactly.
remember me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
And I always do say that. Well, if they're not treating you right, or
Right.
it doesn't seem right, call me and let me know. Let me know how everything's going with them.
Right.
I'll put them in my CRM and check in with so and so 6 months, make sure everything's good. But
And it's funny you say that. We do that a lot. Like, I never, our company and I'm big on everybody in the company. Let's not talk about the other companies.
Mhm.
Let's just focus on what we have and make the best we can make it,
Mhm.
without compromising talking about the other company and what they don't do and how we're better. I just say we're better. I just say we're number one, and
I do this and this. I have this and
and
this.
this is
offer.
and this is what we do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And show them by numbers. I got
Correct.
all this going on, so
correct.
obviously I'm doing something right.
Right, and
I'll
it
show
works
you
for
what I'm
me.
doing for them. Yeah.
It works for me.
Exactly. So, do you focus on to add another thing to the process, focusing on wealth with this property? So, do you educate and focus on market updates for these properties that you manage? Do you help them?
So good you
Sprinkle on
said
that.
that. Yeah, it's so good that you said that. So yes, we do. A lot of people that we, manage properties for, that's like the other section of our spreadsheet that we do for them. We kind of put, and then we'll look up their property taxes and kind of put, look at it. And over years, as they've acquired that property or had it, we'll send them information, like send them a sheet and it has all of their stuff in it, how old all their appliances is, how this, that, and the other. That's a win-win when they get ready to sell, because that's what they usually give to their realtor.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
I
because
love getting that.
yeah, because that's like key. Because a realtor is the first thing, and correct me if I'm wrong. How old is your AC?
Right.
How old is your roof? When, but now working with us as a property management company, we already got you in the system, and we're saying to you, we are your long-term solution to all. Like, there's no need, once you lock in with us, there's no need to even worry about anything. Like, we're a long-term solution. So when they do get ready to sell their property, we print them out this extensive report and give it to them. And a lot of times they don't even, sometimes they look at it and sometimes they do, and they're like, wow. But who does look at it is the realtor, and they're like calling us now going, who is your property? I'm gonna need,
This
and
sheet is nice.
right, this shit is nice. This
That's
is
exactly what it
nice.
is doing.
Yeah. And then what they do, they come to us and they go, hey, I got some other clients, do you? And so a lot of times, even like your office, I haven't even got a chance to introduce myself, so come in, but because that's what we do, and especially in the real estate of commercial, that sheet is never seen upon in commercial. Because commercial, think about the commercial buildings, they just slap them, they're just working in the building, and nobody's taking, as a property manager, taking into account, I'm just throwing something random, bull rocks. The bull rocks by the planning area has not been maintained in 10 years. Now some of the bull rocks are gone because people's children, that when they come into the office, they're taking rocks and putting it in their pockets or something. But we take, what I'm saying, collect the rock collector.
I've seen it, yeah.
Right. I know everybody's probably taking a rock or two somewhere. It's like, that's a shiny one.
Yeah.
But so with all of that said, all of those components are in there. So when I'm going to them and they're ready to sell their property now, because maybe they open that business up just to put their kids through college. Now it's time to sell it, and they want to go to cruise or do whatever. I've been having this long report that I've been database putting it in. And so now I'm saying, hold up, before you give it to the realtor and before we do this, these are the things that you might want to address first before you even send it over to them. And so it's a little bit different than a house. You know how you go into a house and go, oh, that needs to be painted, this and that. With commercial properties, usually when a realtor, and you can correct me, get a commercial property, they're like, it's commercial, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
But a lot of commercial sits up for a long time.
Right.
If that stuff looks old and beat up and not maintained, it'll sit up for, I've seen one sit up for, a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's good and bad ones. So you do see that. And I was just thinking, the trust that I would show to my client in buying something like that, that's what that document would say to me. They just showed us everything.
Right.
They're putting everything out there for us. They are even admitting this needs to be fixed or this. So whenever somebody puts that on paper, I know you got my trust for me and my client saying, yeah.
And how good is that to know the year, the make, the model,
yeah,
and how many times something was recalled back? Because there's a lot of recalls out here.
Mm-hmm.
So we take that extra time, which I told you we cost, but we take that reiterate, but we take that extra time to do those things, so that way their asset, they know a full description of what, if they got to put that up for a loan, or if they got to, sometimes the banks are asking you now, how, if you're putting that up for a loan or something, how old is the roof?
Right.
When was the last time somebody fixed it? Did you have any patchwork done?
Right.
How many claims were on it? We even keep up with your claims. How many claims were on it? What did you claim for?
Right.
Most of the time, because a person that has so much properties, they can't remember all that stuff.
Right.
They're like, I know I did it.
When
was Hurricane Beryl?
Right.
Like, when was Hurricane Harvey?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. When did it rain last? It was
Yeah.
Last rain.
It was the last rain. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So, and people do that with residential too. So it's just, how they say, the old saying is, you have to pay for quality.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
But at the same time, yeah, all that value is added back because I saved you from this and this happening later
Correct.
on, and so that's how you paid me through
Correct.
what you would have spent over
Correct.
and all of this happening if I didn't keep up with all this
Correct.
for you.
And we're not running around stuff
see the
trying
value.
to just, yeah. You only a person with the mindset of the, you know, where they are is going to see the value in that.
Counting their pennies.
Right, but if a
Okay.
person that's just counting their, you know, pennies, we're here to help you save your pennies so you don't have to count your pennies.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's my note for the day, people. That's my note for the day.
Right. So, anything else? you wanna touch
No,
on?
that's pretty much my note for the day as we wrap it up and we talk about the, you know, being the boss of property management, property preservation management. Those are the key indicators that is going to, you know, work to help to set people, you know, to say what they're looking for in someone that's doing that, you know, doing
Yeah.
that job.
Yeah, I think you showed a need that a lot of people will hear that and say, "Oh, this
Right.
is exactly what I was missing.
Right,
I need some help in this area."
right.
And that's your
Right.
area.
Yeah, that's my
So good.
niche.
Yep.
That's my niche. I'm happy to be in my niche. I'm happy to be in my skin of niche of
Right.
that, you know, because it works.
Yep.
And it shows pride and it makes you happy at what you do and it makes you want to strive for better and more every single day
Mhm.
while you're doing it. So
Mhm. Yeah, it's making my brain go a million
making your
different
brain
ways,
go,
but
yeah,
just thinking, I'm
because
like,
that's a
"Oh,
little
I
nugget.
couldn't- yeah.
That's a little
Get a
nugget. How
lot of
can you
nuggets.
do that in the real estate entity? You know, it's just,
Mhm.
and even those that are listening and you're not in property management, you're not in real estate, you're not in that, you're wrapping it up,
Right.
you know, for yourself. But we're going to wrap it up now
Yeah.
and just say thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of this family unit of our podcast. And like I always say, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and we will do the same. Bye.
Bye.